Welcome to everyone, Mayor-elect, our council members, our distinguished guest, Judge Wenzel, members of the families of the newly elected officials, and of course our viewing audience at home. Right now I'd like to invite the newly elected council members to join me out front. The City of Willmar conducted a general election on November 6, 2018, which resulted in the citizens re-electing 3 council members to their respective wards and electing 1 new council member to Ward 2. As City Clerk and Chief Official in charge of voting, I would like to take this opportunity to present to you a certificate of election. The certificate reads, I, Judy Thompson, City Clerk of the City of Willmar and the State of Minnesota, do hereby certify that at a general election held in said city and state on Tuesday, being the 6th day of November 2018, Andrew Plowman received the highest number of votes cast for the office of council member, 1st Ward. Vicki Davis received the highest number of votes cast for the office of council member, 2nd Ward. Rick Fagerly received the highest number of votes cast for the office of council member, 3rd Ward. And Audrey Nelson received the highest number of votes cast for the office of council member, 4th Ward in the City of Willmar, State of Minnesota, and was therefore duly elected to said office as appears from the official election returns and canvass on file in my office. Congratulations to each one of you. The council members, if you would like to have a seat at this time. Mayor-elect is out front. Also on that same day, November 6, 2018, the citizens of the City of Willmar, all wards, elected Mr. Marv Calvin as mayor of the City of Willmar, and as such, Mr. Calvin, I would like to present you with a certificate of election that simply says, I, Judy Thompson, City Clerk of the City of Willmar and the State of Minnesota, do hereby certify that at a general election held in said city and state on Tuesday, being the 6th day of November 2018, Marv Calvin received the highest number of votes cast for the office of mayor in the City of Willmar, State of Minnesota, and was therefore duly elected to said office, as appears from the official election returns and canvass on file in my office. Marv Calvin, congratulations. And now I would like to introduce the Honorable Judge Stephen J. Wenzel. And all the newly council members, if you would like to come back out front and join the mayor.
Thank you, and thanks for having me here tonight. Is there any family members coming forward too for the Bibles? Okay. Would you please all raise your right hand? I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and of the State of Minnesota and the Willmar City Charter, and that I will discharge faithfully the duties of the office of the City of Willmar to the best of my judgment and ability. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Where do you go, Rick?
Congratulations.
Okay, we'll go ahead and call the Willmar City Council meeting for Monday, January 7th to order. Roll call.
Mayor Calvin,
Here.
Councilmember Nelson,
Here.
Schwantes,
Here.
Alvarado,
Here.
Davis,
Here.
Osmus,
Here.
Maskey,
Here.
Plowman,
Here.
Fagerly.
Here.
9 present, 0 absent.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to take this moment to thank Judge Wenzel for being here. Thank you very much for your service to our community and also to our country. So we appreciate that. Thank you for being here. Next, we'll have the invocation by Pastor Tony Freeberg from the Nazarene Church. Pastor Tony.
Mayor Calvin, good friend, members of the City Council, thank you for the invitation extended to me to bring the invocation, to bring the prayer at the beginning of the first meeting of the City Council in the year 2019. As a believer in God and of the Bible, His Son, Jesus Christ, and His abiding Holy Spirit, and as a pastor in the community and as a chaplain and citizen of the city of Willmar, my prayer will be addressed to the God of the Bible. Let's pray. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Father, we are humbled that you would desire to hear our prayers. Your word tells us to humble ourselves, pray and seek you, turn from our sin, and you will forgive our sin, and you will heal our city. Father, forgive us for our selfish ambitions, our desire to be right before we seek to understand. May we set aside our personal agendas and strive to seek the good of all. Thank you for the leaders you have drawn together to lead and serve the citizens of this great city. For Mayor Calvin, for council members Davis, Plowman, Osmus, Fagerly, Alvarado, Meskey, Nelson, and Schwantes, and for our city administrator Holland, directors of the various city departments, for Chief Felt and Chief Hansen, and for the city staff, we say thank you, Father, for giving to us these who seek to lead, guide, and serve us. May they seek wisdom and guidance from you. May they seek the wisdom found in Proverbs 12, verse 15. The way of the fool is right in their own eyes, but a wise person listens to advice. May we also understand the truth of the words of promise found in James 1, verse 5. If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who gives generously to all without reproach, and it will be given to him. May we understand that the word no can be spoken to us in love. So if I don't get a light put on the dark corner of 15th Street Southwest and Willmar Avenue Southwest, let me accept that decision. As our city leaders aim to please and protect us, let all of us find your peace in the decisions that are made for us. For your desire goes beyond stormwater issues, beyond street repair, and beyond retirement plans. Your desire for us, your command for us, is to love you and love others. May these words be used to describe the great city of Willmar. Thank you, Father, for hearing our prayers. And we say our prayers in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Tony. Next, we have the proposed additions or deletions to the agenda. Counselor, are there any that you would wish to present at this time? There are 3 that are being moved forward from our work session. It's the prosecution contract with Anderson Law Firm, the cable franchise agreement change, small wireless facility design guidelines. Those will all be moved to the end of the agenda prior to the city administrator's comments. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the agenda as presented. Discussion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. That motion does carry. Next is the consideration of council reorganization. There is a series of resolutions that are in our packet. The first position is the position of the mayor pro tem. The mayor is respectfully requesting the council to consider Councilmember Schwantes as the mayor pro tem. Council, this is your decision to make, and there would need to be a motion made for those people. For each of the positions, I will ask for 3 roll calls, and after hearing 3 roll calls, if there's a need for a ballot, we'll go through the ballot process, and our attorney, Mr. Scott, is prepared to address that if there is a need for ballot. We're not going to go through that at this time unless there's more than one person that's selected. So is there a motion to select somebody as mayor pro tem? Councilmember Nelson.
I would nominate Rick Fagerly.
Second.
Councilmember Fagerly. Councilmember Osmus.
I would nominate Kathy Schwantes.
Kathy? Is there a second to that?
I'll second.
Any other names? Okay. City Attorney Scott, can you go through the ballot process with us?
Yes, thank you, Mayor, members of the council. To vote by ballot, which is one permissible way to elect councilors to officer positions under your rules of procedure, and also comply with the Minnesota Open Meeting Law, which requires that the vote be open and public and that the public know who voted which way. The way we've handled it before is that the city clerk would pass slips of paper to each council member. The council member should indicate their choice on that slip of paper and also either sign it or initial it or mark it in some way that we can tell which council member cast which vote. One thing to consider under the rules of parliamentary procedure, the vote requires a majority of the council for the person to be elected. However, under the city charter, given that there's only 2 nominees, should that vote be 4-4, the mayor would have the ability to break the tie in that situation.
Okay. Ms. Thompson, have you prepared the ballots? Councilmember Metzke.
Seeing as there is two candidates for a position, is there any words that either candidate would like to offer for their role in that position? Is that appropriate?
Councilmember Fagerly as the senior member.
Oh, I appreciate the nomination. I mean, if the rest of the council want me, I'd be happy to serve. So,
Okay. Councilmember Schwantes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also would consider it an honor. I think we all have the best interest of the city at heart, and I would wish to do the council's, act in the council's desire, and would appreciate your vote.
Okay. Council members can vote. And then Ms. Thompson, if you would be prepared to collect the ballots and tally the ballots.
Yeah.
Remember, each council member has to initial or in some form identify yourself for the press if they so choose to ask how the council members voted. And those will be made available to the press immediately after the meeting.
Okay, Mayor and Council, the final vote for Councilmember Schwantes, 3. Councilmember Fagerly, 5.
Councilmember Fagerly, you are elected as the Mayor Pro Tem. Congratulations.
thank
Mr.
you.
Mayor, I'd like to be the first to say congratulations.
Thank you.
In the past, we have moved seats. I asked the city clerk not to place names at the nameplates. If you wish to change seats, you can do that. It's up to the Mayor Pro Tem to make that decision.
Right now or for?
You can do it right now or the next meeting, whatever your choice is.
Next meeting is fine.
Okay. Next is the adoption of a set of parliamentary rules and orders. Ms. Thompson?
I'm sorry, Mayor, we need a roll call on the Mayor Pro Tem,
Oh, I'm sorry.
because that's a resolution.
So essentially, I
Does the
think,
vote stand as the,
Roll call?
Mr. Mayor, I think the vote actually does stand on that.
That would be the format?
That would count as a vote.
Okay.
next is adoption of a set of parliamentary rules and orders. Ms. Thompson?
Per charter, the council shall adopt a set of parliamentary rules of order. The council biennially adopts the authorized set of parliamentary rules at the organizational meeting in January. And to adopt the recommendation is to adopt the Standard Code of Parliamentary Procedures, formerly Alice Sturgis Rules of Order.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to adopt a set of parliamentary rules of order. Additional discussion. Roll call.
Councilmember Nelson.
Aye.
Schwantes.
Aye.
Alvarado.
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Osmus.
Aye.
Maskey.
Aye.
Plowman.
Aye.
Fagerly.
Aye.
8 ayes, 0 nays.
That resolution passes as well. Next is consider a council committee member liaison assignments. And it says to ask Robert to review. I think that was for the voting process, if there's more than one person that wishes to serve, or is there something else you'd like to add, Mr. Scott?
Mr. Mayor, the only comment I would have is to point out a change that's been made to previous versions of this resolution, just to acknowledge which positions are for full voting membership on the listed board or commission in which are to act as council liaison to the position. The difference being that the full voting member would actually serve on the board and have full voting rights, whereas a council liaison would observe the meetings, typically attend, be the council's representative at those meetings, but would not be a voting member.
Okay, so that's the difference. First is the EDC Joint Operations Board. And again, I think how we'll do that is if you're interested in that or you have someone you'd like to nominate, we can go ahead and do that, or however you'd like to do that process. Councilmember Meske.
I think it might be valuable for those that are currently sitting on that to know who they are. And
Okay, I can
some of these
those.
things, the continuity on some of these is pretty valuable.
Okay, for the EDC, we have Fernando Alvarado, Kathy Schwantes, and Andrew Plowman. Councilmember Nelson.
I think it would be helpful to know if those 3 council members are still interested in staying, I mean, as we go through, that if that's something they wish to stay on also.
Councilmember Schwantes.
I would very much be interested in continuing to serve on the EDC board.
I would also like to maintain the position on the EDC board.
I would as well.
Is there anybody else that wishes to serve? Historically, the mayor has served in that position, and 2 years ago, I respectfully stepped away from that position on the EDC board. And Councilmember Christensen and myself had both put in for it along with the 3 people that were selected. And so we had 5 people. And so I stepped aside so that those 3 could move forward. So I guess it's up to the council what they wish to do. But if we have those 3 people, we can move those names forward.
Is it possible? Sorry. Is it possible for to have an alternate on there? No.
I don't believe so, is there,
Okay.
Aaron? No.
Okay. Thank you.
Councilmember Nelson.
I know that I have been asked to step in on that board when someone couldn't be there, so could the council designate someone to step in, or should each person, so that it could be aware that if a council member can't attend that board, that we designate someone to be called first? It's not an official designation, but I know it's important to have people there. Or is that just a personal choice by each council member if they can't be there?
Mr. Scott.
Mayor, members of the council, Councilmember Nelson, unless the joint powers agreement made some provision for voting by alternate members in the absence of a appointed member, certainly no one except for the 3 appointed members could vote. Otherwise, I think you could certainly ask someone to go and observe and essentially act as a liaison in your place, but the voting rights would be limited to the 3 members appointed.
I know I was asked to go and I did vote. Is that something that we could research and add later if we do these 3 now?
I could certainly look at the agreement again and confirm whether there is an ability to have a non-member attend that meeting and vote and report
Okay.
back.
All right.
Okay, next would be Human Rights Commission. The 2 members that serve on that currently are Councilmember Alvarado and Councilmember Meske. Is there a desire to return?
I would.
I know Councilor Davis has expressed an interest, and I would be willing to allow her to take that spot if she so wishes.
Councilmember Davis.
Yes, I would like to do that.
Is there anybody else that wishes to serve in that position? Seeing and hearing none, we'll go to Fire Codes Appeals Board. This is a position that the entire council is the Fire Codes Appeal Board, but we do appoint a chair and a vice chair. In the past, the chair was Ron Christensen, and the vice chair was Fernando Alvarado.
I will maintain that if no one else wishes to do that.
You wish to move up to the chair position?
Sure.
Anybody else wish to have the chair position? Anybody want to have that vice chair position? Who would like to serve in that capacity?
Doesn't matter. If you want.
Councilmember Nelson said she could do it. Anybody else? Anything else for the Fire Code Appeals Board? Next, we have the Mid-Minnesota Development Commission. That position is currently held by Mr. Fagerly. Mr. Fagerly, do you have a desire to continue?
I have a desire to continue, sure.
Is there anybody else that wishes to serve in that capacity? Seeing and hearing none. Vision 2040 Steering Committee, position currently held by Councilmember Schwantes. Councilmember Schwantes, you have a desire to continue.
Yes, please.
Is there anybody else that wishes to serve in that capacity? Seeing and hearing none. Central Transit Board, that is held by Councilmember Fagerly and myself. If somebody else would like to serve on that, I'd be willing to step aside. Councilmember Fagerly, would you like to stay there?
I'll stay there.
Anybody else that wishes to serve on the CCT Board? I'll leave my name there as default, as by default. Pioneer Library System, currently position held by Councilmember Osmus. Councilmember Osmus?
I will stay on the library board.
Anybody else wish to serve on the library board? Next, we have Willmar Cable Advisory Board, positions held by Councilmembers Alvarado and Councilmember Osmus. Any desire to continue?
I would be willing to continue.
If somebody else would like to be on it, I would.
How would you like to serve in that position, Councilmember Davis?
I could give it a try.
Thank you. Councilmember Davis and Councilmember Alvarado. Next, the Willmar Convention and Visitors Bureau, Councilmember Nelson serves in that position.
I
Councilmember
would
Nelson.
appreciate continuing.
Councilmember Nelson will continue that. Anybody else wish to serve in that position? Councilmember Nelson. Airport Commission, currently held by Councilmember Plowman.
I would very much like to hold that position.
Anybody else wish to serve in that position? Councilmember Plowman. Park and Rec Board, position currently held by Councilmember Nelson.
I'd like to go on there.
Councilmember Fagerly would like to go there. Councilmember Nelson?
There are 2 lines there, and I think it would be appropriate for us to have 2 people. I would be willing to stay there if no one else wants to.
I would like a position on the Park and Rec Board.
Anybody else that wishes to serve on the Park and Rec Board? Does anybody know why we have 2 lines there?
Because we have two.
It's just carried over from the last one from 2 years ago.
Given our new structure, it seems appropriate. I don't know.
Rob, do you have any thoughts on that as the Park and Rec Director?
It was fine with me.
Councilmember, anybody else wish to serve?
If Julie's interested in that, I'll remove my name from that.
Anybody else? I was going to tell you to pass out the ballots, but Councilmember Nelson rescinded. Airport Utilities Commission, and if I get any of these wrong, tell me. I'm just going from memory here. So, Municipal Utilities Commission, we have Councilmember Meske, and alternate is Councilmember Plowman.
I'd be willing to stay.
I would be willing to be that alternate.
Anybody else wish to serve in that capacity? Okay, Candioi HRA, that position is held by Councilmember, oh, now I'm gonna have to look at a list. Christensen, but we have 2 lines here too. We're supposed to have 2 people here?
An alternate, yeah.
We never did in the past. Anybody know why we've got an alternate listed?
I would be interested in the HRA if, on either position, alternate or.
Mayor, members of the council, I assume this being a liaison position, not a voting member, would explain the need for an alternate in case the liaison can't make it.
Okay. Is there anybody that wishes to be the alternate?
Being an alternate.
Councilmember Meske?
No, misunderstand.
Oh.
I have a question.
Well, no, I seen your partner kind of nominating you. So.
No,
Councilmember
I
Meske.
was just going to ask, if that is the case, Airport Commission does not have an alternate. The Park and Rec with 2 members, it makes sense, but just, we may want to, if we're going to do that and be consistent with liaisons, that maybe we need an alternate for the Airport Commission.
Okay. We need an alternate for the HRA.
I can do that.
Did somebody say they would?
Councilmember Fagerly.
Okay.
Then we need an alternate for the Airport Commission.
I would do that.
Councilmember Osmus. And Rice Hospital Board, currently held by Nelson, and I didn't know you had an alternate either, but.
Yeah, Kathy has been the alternate.
Kathy's the alternate, okay.
And I would like to stay in that position with.
Okay.
Yes.
Kathy would like to continue in that spot. Okay, anybody else for the hospital board? Okay, the one position that's not listed on yours is the Intergovernmental Planning and Communication Committee. That's a committee that the mayor, the city administrator, and Councilmember Schwantes served on. That is the group that meets with the county and also meets with the city clerks, city administrators, and mayors. We generally meet a few times a year. It is also the group that meets with the school board and the county, and we meet every quarter. City of Willmar just hosted that. The next will be hosted by the hospital board. That meeting will be in, I think, January 26th, if I remember right.
It's this month, yes.
Yep. So, so Kathy has, I'm sorry, Councilmember Schwantes has served in that in the past. Would you like to continue
Yes,
serving?
thank you.
Anybody else that wishes to do that?
I would like to see an alternate because I know there are times when we haven't had everybody there. So I think it would be appropriate to have an alternate to Councilmember Schwantes also.
Okay, we can do that. Seeing we're doing alternates and everything else. Anything else? Councilmember Metzke? Anybody else? Final time, anybody else? Need a ballot? So,
Who was the alternate?
I'm sorry?
Did you want to be the alternate?
Yeah, I didn't know you had your hand up.
I didn't.
Oh,
Huh?
Isn't,
who do you have for a list on that?
I have Kathy, Audrey, and yourself.
Oh, I see. Then no, you can take mine off.
Okay, disregard. Willmar Community and Activity Center Council. And again, this is one we have to add an alternate. There's not one on it.
Oh.
And that position is currently held by Councilmember Osmus.
I would like to continue.
And we need an alternate.
No, I'm just asking a question. Councilmember Osmus will now be on the rec board. That normally has been a different position than on the rec board. So it's just a question. Because they're two separate boards with that. And there has not been a direct report from one to the other. So maybe it doesn't matter.
Well, we have a different structure now than we had before.
Yeah, and I don't know if this council, if this group is now going to report to the rec board, or if it's going to continue to simply send its minutes to the council. So that's just a question.
I think the community center has never been under the Park and Rec.
Yes, in an informal way it was, because Mr. Bresendine was the person who attended. Those minutes didn't go to the rec board, but it was part of community ed and rec.
The community center, operates under Rob and the Park and Rec, and so, yeah, we used to send the minutes and so I think at this point in time, it would still continue into that same format until we make a change at a later time, if we feel like it's necessary.
That's one thing that we had talked about discussing at the retreat this weekend.
perhaps we can hold off on this one until after the retreat and maybe articulate how we wish that those function, because that does seem we're in a new area there. Because we hadn't really had the board as the charter had laid out functioning with the Park and Rec board.
The only thing I would say to that is what message are you sending to the community center then? If they had a council liaison before and now they don't.
Well, they have an extra one if you go Park and Rec board covering them both, because we just added a liaison there. It's a matter of how you wish to move it forward. Is it going to be an umbrella Park and Rec board covering all of the things under our director's jurisdiction, or are you going to section them off? I think that's the question.
I served on that board for 4 years, and I think there is a different agenda there than there is at the rec board with that. And so the concern I would have is that you are carrying forward the information from that board, not to the rec board kind of thing, and with how that structure is going to work with that. So that was just my question, whether being in both roles, whether you can truly look at the community center one way and then go to the rec board with that information.
So is the question whether or not the community board should be directly going to the Park and Rec board, if they should just go right about that?
Well, the minutes currently come to us, and so it hasn't kind of been the council. So it hasn't quite been the right structure, and I believe this is a group that needs to be strengthened when we look at our senior population and the things going on there. So I do see it as a separate function with that, and so I certainly don't want them to think that they don't have a liaison, but I do think that it would be important. I think some of the things that have happened over the years would not have happened if there had been a better structure in place. So I don't know what the answer is for it, but I think we need to decide.
I'm looking for an alternate.
No, I'll serve on there since I'm on the park board.
Okay.
One of the things I always tried to do is tried to make things even. We're not very even tonight. So next is Main Street.
I'm currently on that, but I think we got a better person to serve on that. If she's down at that end, if she's willing to.
Yes, I'd be willing.
You want to go as the alternate then?
I can.
Does anybody else wish to serve the alternate?
I can too, if you want.
No, Sean wants a,
So Davis will be the primary and the alternate will be Meske. Vision 2040 focus groups, I had that on there. We talked to Ken Warner today. He doesn't want us to fill those spots. There's no position that was added at the retreat. We talked about, because the county has representation at the meetings, that we wanted representation from the council as well. And Councilmember Nelson talked to Mr. Warner today, and he said that he doesn't know what this is about, so he recommended we not fill the spots. So with that, I would entertain a motion to approve the resolution. Councilmember Nelson.
I think if there's further clarification on that, it could come back to us. I think the goal the last time was just to make sure that we were involved somewhere in Vision 2040. I honestly don't know how these four groups are functioning, and maybe Councilmember Schwantes could speak to that. And I don't, if the county is sending people and there's a reason for us to do that, then we should. But it was my understanding that these groups were strictly being built out of volunteers from the community. So I don't know if Councilmember Schwantes has anything else. I just was trying to figure out
Well, I don't.
where.
I mean, that's certainly something we can do, but I think if the chair of Vision 2040 doesn't want it filled, why would we fill it, even if Councilmember Schwantes said to do it? So I don't understand. It seems counterproductive. Entertain a motion to, Councilmember Meske?
I move to approve the resolution for council board commission appointments.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Discussion. All in favor of the motion signify, I'm sorry, Councilmember Osmus.
Okay, you had mentioned that that it wasn't even. Is there any shuffling or anything we want to look at, or?
We can do that at the retreat, and if we want to come back, we can do that.
Oh, okay.
In case, because if we do something with the committee structure.
Okay.
We can do that all at the same time. Otherwise, it doesn't matter. They weren't never even before anyhow, so. It's just after I became mayor, I tried to make sure they were all even. That was one of my goals. And I think the council's going into,
Right. I
people that
knew
want to serve.
This was a new format, so before we were at about 3 each.
Right.
And now we added some alternates, and
Right.
I'm not sure how it came out.
Sure. Motion made and second, additional discussion. Roll call.
Councilmember Schwantes?
Aye.
Alvarado?
Aye.
Davis?
Aye.
Osmus?
Aye.
Maskey?
Aye.
Plowman?
Aye.
Fagerly?
Aye.
Nelson?
Aye.
8 ayes, 0 nays.
And that resolution passes as well. Next is established council meeting dates and times. Ms. Thompson.
The council biannually adopts the meeting schedule and time for adjournment of said council meetings that should be no later than 11 p.m. An item of business under consideration at 11 p.m. may be disposed. Business from the first meeting of the month will be carried over to the second meeting if necessary, and any business not completed at the second meeting of the month, which is urgent and must have action, will be adjourned to a special meeting. Staff's recommendation to adopt a resolution establishing the regular meeting schedule, location, and time.
We need a motion.
I'll entertain the resolution.
Second.
Resolution been introduced and seconded. The other thing that we always did at the same time is if the Monday fell, the holiday fell on the Monday, we moved it to the Tuesday. I don't see that in this resolution.
It is in
The verbiage is in the resolution itself.
In the resolution? Okay, it's not just. in-
Yes, in
Okay.
the first paragraph.
Okay, anything else for the council? Roll call.
Councilmember Alvarado?
Aye.
Davis?
Aye.
Osmus?
Aye.
Maskey?
Aye.
Plowman?
Aye.
Fagerly?
Aye.
Nelson?
Aye.
Schwantes?
Aye.
8 ayes, 0 nays.
The resolution passes as well. Next is designate the official newspaper. Ms. Thompson.
The city is required to designate a legal newspaper at its biennial meeting. Because the West Central Tribune's office of issue is in the city of Willmar, the city must designate a newspaper located in the city as its legal newspaper. Staff's recommendation to adopt a resolution designating the West Central Tribune as the official newspaper for the city of Willmar.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Councilmember Davis?
Aye.
Osmus?
Aye.
Maskey?
Aye.
Plowman?
Aye.
Fagerly?
Aye.
Nelson?
Aye.
Schwantes?
Aye.
Alvarado?
Aye.
8 ayes, 0 nays.
That resolution passes. Next is to designate a responsible authority. Ms. Thompson.
Minnesota Government Data Practices Act regulates data collected, created, received, maintained, disseminated, or stored by a state agency, political subdivision, or statewide system regardless of its physical form, storage media, or conditions of use. Minnesota statute requires the city to appoint one person as a responsible authority to administer the requirements for collection, storage, use, and dissemination of data on individuals within the city. Staff's recommendation is to adopt a resolution appointing City Clerk Judy Thompson as the responsible authority to administer the requirements for collection, storage, use, and dissemination of data on individuals within the city.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Councilmember Osmus?
Aye.
Maskey?
Aye.
Plowman?
Aye.
Fagerly?
Aye.
Nelson?
Aye.
Schwantes?
Aye.
Alvarado?
Aye.
Davis?
Aye.
8 ayes, 0 nays.
That resolution passes. Next is our consent items. Ms. Thompson.
On tonight's consent agenda, we have for council's approval the city council meeting minutes of December 17th, special meeting full council labor relations minutes of December 5th, Willmar Municipal Utilities Board minutes of December 26th, Planning Commission minutes of January 2nd, An application for exempt permit from the Friends of the Kandiyohi County Willmar Public Library. Application for exempt permit Kandiyohi County Friends of NRA. Application for exempt permit Willmar Fest Incorporated. A resolution for acceptance of project number 1803B and authorize final payment in the amount of $25,291.64. 2 resolutions accepting amendment to professional services agreement with Bolton and Mink for the lift stations. A resolution ordering preparation of improvement report. An application for appointment as members of the Park and Recreation Board for Thomas Gilbertson, Abdurrahman Hussein, Kim Madsen, Andy Ogdahl, Jim Anderson, Valerie Swanson, and Rachel Screetfit.
Judy, we need to remove Kim Madsen. She doesn't reside in the city. I handed you that note.
Okay. For council's acceptance, the Willmar Lakes Area CVB Board minutes of November 20th, building inspection report for the month of December 2018, accounts payable report for December 13th through December 31st, and for council's information, an application for member of Airport Commission for Cody Miller.
Move to approve as amended.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve as amended. Discussion. Roll call.
Councilmember Maskey.
Aye.
Plowman.
Aye.
Fagerly.
Aye.
Nelson.
Aye.
Schwantes.
Aye.
Alvarado.
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Osmus.
Aye.
8 ayes, 0 nays.
That resolution, or that motion passes. Next is a hearing for Municipal Development District Number X. I'm assuming 10, but. Quick learner, you know. Welcome, Bruce.
Mayor Kelvin, members of the council. Tonight, we're dealing with the tax increment financing program for the JH LLC apartment housing project. It's a housing district. The first step in the process tonight is to designate a municipal development district. Minnesota statutes requires that to create a tax increment financing district, you have to have an area designated as a project area. They provide a way to do that within statute by creating the municipal development districts. We currently have 9 of those districts in the city. This would be the 10th. This property is on County State Aid Highway number 5, north of 7th Avenue on the west side of County State Aid 5. And it's currently vacant ag land. It is consistent, or the proposal is consistent with our comprehensive plan. And the Planning Commission this last week began the process to finalize land use approvals for that project. Outside of the tax increment financing plan itself, we have not identified any financial impacts related to the creation of the municipal development district. The first recommendation I'd like to make to council tonight is that they adopt the resolution that designates Municipal Development District 10 as proposed.
In talking with my mayor pro tem, I failed to open the public meeting, so I'll do that at this point. So public meeting is now open. And so you want this in 2 separate resolutions, Mr. Peterson?
Yes, there will be.
And at what point would we take public comment? At this point before the first resolution?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I believe at this point you would take public comment on the resolution establishing Municipal Development District 10.
Is there anybody from the public that wishes to speak? Please come forward. Bruce?
Excuse me.
You're just fine. Hi, I'm Linda Mathiasen, and I know that there's a hearing for 2 different resolutions before you today, but I am here on behalf of Vision 2040, the Housing Committee. And so I'd like to share my letter with all of you in regard to both of the items before you tonight. So again, I'm Linda Mathiasen. I am the chair of the Housing Committee. Willmar City Council, on behalf of Vision 2040 Housing Committee, we would like to submit a letter of support for the market rate development in Willmar. As an active group, we meet monthly. Following the completion of the 2015 housing study, we developed a guiding purpose, which is to address the following question. What will it take to get an adequate inventory of quality rental options to have more people move to Kandiyohi County? We maintain a housing implementation plan, and among that, on that list, is to see the creation of rental properties. At our November 5th, 2018 Housing Committee meeting, we received a presentation from Sam Herzog of JH LLC regarding the construction of a multifamily housing along County Road 5. The first of 4 buildings will be 72 units. I'm sure you're familiar with a lot of this. With the expected rent of $700 for a 1-bedroom and $1,100 for a 3-bedroom. Its amenities will include a community room, workout facilities, secured entry, patio and balcony, large hallways, and a local on-site manager. Mr. Herzog shared why he selected Willmar and properties he has built and is managing in other communities similar in size to our community with our group. In Alexandria, he is working with the pre-leasing and has found that 40% of the leases are going to people moving into the community, looking for jobs and education. He shared how the County Road 5 location is well positioned to serve our industrial park and gives convenient access to the Highway 12 corridor. His interest in location was to be near Ridgewater College, which generates $170 million to our community. He remarked 80% of the calls he receives for student housing are from parents seeking new, nice, and safe options for their child. Market rate rental development is an unmet need in our community. We know the population of Willmar doubles in size every day by the number of people working, seeking medical care, and other professional services and goods in our community. Our industrial park, First Street, and major manufacturers are expanding. More housing is needed to support our growing population and economy. We want people to not only work in Candiota County, but we want them to also live in our community and contribute to our quality of life. We sincerely hope the City Council and community will support the proposed Candiota County Road 5 market rate project, and it becomes a reality for our current and future residents. We appreciate your consideration, and we thank you for your ongoing efforts to make this a good place to live, work, and raise families. Sincerely, Vision 2040 Housing Committee.
Thank you for your comments. Anybody else from the public that wishes to speak? Seeing and hearing none, I'll close the public hearing, bring it to the council table. Council, what is your wishes?
I move to approve the resolution designating municipal development district number 10.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve Municipal Development District Number 10. Council discussion. Roll call.
Councilmember Plowman,
Aye.
Fagerly,
Aye.
Nelson,
Aye.
Schwantes,
Aye.
Alvarado,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Osmus,
Aye.
Maskey.
Aye.
8 ayes, 0 nays.
That resolution passes. Next, I'll open a public hearing for GH LLC Housing District Tax Increment Financing. I'll open the public hearing. Mr. Peterson.
Okay. Mayor Calvin, members of the council, first off, I need to apologize for an error. I've looked at this so many times that it jumped right by me. It's JH not GH The resolution is correct. It's the council action form that has the erroneous name. Tonight, we're talking about a tax increment financing project for the JH LLC apartment project. Previously, the council gave approval for a 15 to 18-year tax increment financing district. The preliminary TIF approval was based on an anticipated construction start in 2019. Tax increment financing will be used to partially offset the cost of site acquisition and preparation, utilities, stormwater controls, paving, lighting, and building construction. The total cost of the initial project, the initial 72-unit building, exceeds $9 million. The city and the EDC have been working with JH LLC for some time to develop a large apartment project. The project will use existing infrastructure on County Road 5 as well as some newer sewer infrastructure that will be built up from the south. It is necessary to proceed with the approval of the tax increment plan that lays out the tax implications for the 3 taxing jurisdictions, and those are laid out in the tax increment plan that you have as part of your packet. The plan was drafted specific to the 172-unit building, but allows for the ultimate construction of 4 72-unit buildings with additional tax increment financing to accompany each phase of the project. The next step in this process is to conduct the public hearing tonight on the plan. All other taxing jurisdictions have been notified as required by statute, and following approval of the plan, staff will work with the city attorney and the developer to prepare the final agreement to define the obligations of both the city and the developer. As is the case in most tax increment financing projects, the taxing jurisdictions will be asked to forego any new taxes on the site for a period of time. In this particular case, the council preliminarily agreed to a 15 to 18-year term. Total increment anticipated to be generated by the project for the first building is 1.6 million, increasing to 7.2 million if 4 buildings are constructed. At this point, we have 2 alternatives: to move forward with the use of tax increment financing and to give final approval to the council's preliminary offer, or to terminate this process. As Linda mentioned earlier, there is a great continuing need for rental housing in the city of Willmar. The markets have clearly demonstrated that market rate housing cannot be feasibly constructed without some level of governmental assistance. For that reason, I'm asking the council to adopt the resolution approving the tax increment financing plan and to authorize the mayor and administrator to execute the developer agreement when completed.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to speak? Ms. Mathiasen, just make sure that our city clerk gets a copy of your letter before you leave. I forgot to ask you that when you had submitted that. And I understand that your comments stand for this portion as well.
Absolutely. If you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer.
Sure. Any other comments from the public? Seeing and hearing none, I'll bring it to the council table. Council, what are your wishes?
Make a motion.
Motion made to approve, and there's been a second. Discussion. Councilmember Plowman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a technical question. The 15 to 18-year term, what is the determining factor that will determine that?
The way it's structured is that for the first building, they will be granted a 15-year term similar to the 15th Street Flats project. For each additional building, they're allowed 1 additional year of increment, assuming that they build them with consecutive phases that occur annually for the next 4 years.
So that would be referring to construction start dates?
The years begin upon completion of the project as defined in the development agreement.
Got it. So. Okay, thank you. That clarifies it.
Additional discussion. Roll call.
Councilmember Fagerly,
Aye.
Nelson,
Aye.
Schwantes,
Aye.
Alvarado,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Osmus,
Aye.
Maskey,
Aye.
Plowman.
Aye.
8 ayes, 0 nays.
That resolution passes. Thank you, Mr. Peterson. Next, we have an open forum. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to speak? Herzogs are here, and thank you guys for attending. We look forward to your project. There's a lot of excitement, a lot of buzz in the community in regards to it. And so we're very pleased that you've chosen Willmar to do your next project. And we know that you'll have no problem filling those units. So we're glad you're in town. Thank you. Next is open forum. Anybody from the public that wishes to speak? Seeing and hearing none, I'll take consideration of 2nd Avenue Northeast Street vacation. In one place it says Sarah, and another place it says you. So you're standing up there, it must be you.
It must be because Sarah's gone. The city has received a petition for a vacation of a portion of 2nd Street Southeast. This is a remnant right-of-way that's never been developed. It was part of the former Elm Lane Trailer Park north of East Highway 12. The new buyers have petitioned for the vacation so that they can develop the property without that right-of-way being an impediment. It's been to the Planning Commission. There were no issues identified. The Planning Commission unanimously approved the request, and it's a recommendation of staff that the vacation be introduced for a public hearing on January 22nd.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to consider 2nd Avenue Northeast Street vacation. And it's saying here that's a roll call. that correct? Discussion. Councilmember Osmus.
I think we should get the exact verbiage down. You said Second Avenue, you said Second Street Southeast, you just said Northeast. It's Second Avenue Southeast, correct?
It is Second Avenue Southeast, that is
Okay.
correct. Yep, it is south of the tracks. So that makes it southeast, yes.
Thank you for making that correction.
Just for the record.
Yeah, I was going off the notes that I have in
Oh,
front of me,
sorry.
so the notes are inaccurate.
Yes, sir.
Any other comments? So Bruce, can you just repeat it so we have it right, like Councilmember Osmus said?
Okay, it is the portion of Second Avenue Southeast that lies directly south of the Burlington Northern Rail Line, north of East Highway 12. It would be the property that's just east of the Elks Lodge and EDC office building.
So everybody's familiar with what we're talking about. Okay. Roll call.
Councilmember Nelson.
Aye.
Schwantes.
Aye.
Alvarado.
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Osmus.
Aye.
Maskey.
Aye.
Plowman.
Aye.
Fagerly.
Aye.
8 ayes, 0 nays.
That resolution passes. Next is consideration of an opportunities preliminary plat. Mr. Peterson.
Mayor Kelvin, members of the council, the Unique Opportunities Preliminary Plat is the site of the JHLLC apartment project. Currently, there's 2 existing parcels out there that will be subdivided into 9 parcels. There will be 4 parcels for the development of the buildings, 4 parcels for the development of garages, and then there will be an outlot through the site that provides access to all the sites. It's being platted as a planned unit development, and the interior road system will be constructed privately and will remain private for the life of the development. A conditional use permit for the PUD was approved by the Planning Commission on January 2nd, and the Planning Commission recommends approval of the preliminary plat. There are some county road improvements that will be required and coordinated with the city and the county to handle the anticipated increased traffic. And because of the construction schedule for this project, we've got time to work with the county and figure out how we best accomplish that. I believe they're actually looking for some improvements on County Road 5 for the year 2020. So the timing for this project is good to combine it with the county's improvements. There have also been some discussion of sewer improvements coming up from the south. These improvements will be at the cost of the developer, but we've also done some cost estimates, and we believe that the extension of the sewer will not be any more expensive than the connection fees would have been had they been able to access the sewer on County Road 5, which is at capacity right now. So the recommendation is to approve the preliminary plat with the following conditions. Conditioned upon the PUD conditional use permit, which has been approved. Declarations and covenants for the internal access, Outlot A, has to be submitted to staff and recorded concurrently with the plat. And that all county engineering, fire, chief marshal engineering, public works, and MUC comments shall be met and adhered to. And with that, I would offer that motion to the council.
So moved.
Motion been made
Second.
and seconded for consideration of opportunity preliminary plat. Discussion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Next, consideration of the early retirement plan. Thank you, Bruce. Appreciate it. Next is consideration of the early retirement plan. Ms. Beckman.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. We have before you further consideration of the early retirement program that the city offers. At the December 17th meeting, the council requested some more accelerated schedules if you wanted to do a phase out of the retirement program for the 31 employees still eligible. So in your packets, the number 1 option was the option I presented on December 17th as an example. So that's the original. And then number 2 and number 3 are more accelerated versions, with number 2 ending the program in 2029, and number 3 will end the program in 2023. I do have to apologize on number 3, the retirement date column. My formulas didn't update, so those years are incorrect in that column. The notice received dates are correct, though. I apologize, my formula didn't update. I realized that today it was too late to change your packets. So it should be December 31st, 2020, December 31st, 2021, December 31st, 2022, and then December 31st, 2023.
Okay. Council, what are your wishes?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to discontinue the early retirement program effective July 1st, 2019, and ask that notice of retirement would be given by March 31st, 2019.
Second to that motion.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion from the council. Seeing and hearing none, roll call.
Councilmember Schwantes,
Aye.
Alvarado,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Osmus,
Nay.
Maskey,
No.
Plowman,
Abstain.
Fagerly,
Aye.
Nelson.
Aye.
The resolution passes. Next, thank you, Sam. I know you put a lot of work into this. I know you spent a lot of countless hours working on this. I know it's been very draining on you, and I really appreciate your professionalism. This is a very, very tough thing to have to carry as a new HR director, and you have done a stellar job. We're very proud of you. You do good work. So thank you very much. Next, we have the prosecution contract with Anderson Law Offices carried forward from the work session. Mr. Holland, do you want to present that?
I would just reiterate from the work session that the recommendation comes from myself and also our police department, in particular Chief Felt, and recommend approval and extension of this contract for an additional 3 years to the Anderson Law Offices.
With an increase of $1,000 a month each consecutive years over those 3 years, correct? The recommendation?
No, it's $4,000. It goes from about $10,000 a month to $14,000 a month.
He's not talking about the
If
other.
you look at the schedule there. But it does go up each year, yes.
Correct, correct, right. I thought I'd read that correctly. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to forward staff's recommendation to enter into a 3-year extension for prosecution services from Anderson Law Firm. Discussion. Roll call.
Councilmember Alvarado,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Osmus,
Aye.
Maskey,
Aye.
Plowman,
Aye.
Fagerly,
Aye.
Nelson,
Aye.
Schwantes.
Aye.
8 ayes, 0 nays.
That resolution passes. Next is cable franchise agreement change. Mr. Holland, do you want to take this one as well?
I would just recommend to the council that we approve this franchise change that is being recommended by charter as provided.
I make a motion. Second.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the cable franchise agreement changes. And again, these changes are for, they're selling the company, and if the council votes yes, they sell it. If they vote no, they still sell it. So, but it's best for us to just take the action. Discussion. Roll call.
Councilmember Davis,
Aye.
Osmus,
Aye.
Maskey,
Aye.
Plowman,
Aye.
Fagerly,
Aye.
Nelson,
Aye.
Schwantes,
Aye.
Alvarado.
Aye.
8 ayes, 0 nays.
That resolution passes as well. Next is small wireless facility design guidelines. And Bruce, are you taking that, or is?
I think I defer to the city.
I'm sorry, City Attorney, I apologize.
That's okay. Thank you, Mayor, members of the City Council. An item from your work session that you considered were adopting aesthetic standards to be applied to all cellular communications providers who seek to deploy small cell wireless facilities in the city. Typically, these are small antennae that are attached to existing city light poles and utility poles. Due to a recent FCC order, there are a couple of deadlines upcoming if the city wishes to be able to impose these kinds of requirements on cellular providers who want to attach these facilities to city poles. The order itself takes effect on January 14th, next week. So if the city wishes to require aesthetic standards be met for any applications it receives after that date, it should adopt the enclosed policy. Any final standards should be approved by April 15th, 2019 under the terms of the FCC order, or the language indicates the city may not have the ability to enact standards after that date. The kinds of aesthetic standards we're talking about are requiring the attachments to be, the antenna to be contained within enclosures or shrouds of some sort to conceal the actual antenna, regulating the size of the attachments to poles, requiring any wires or cables to be concealed within the enclosure or shroud, requiring the antenna and the enclosures to match the material of the pole and the color of the pole to which it will be attached. Require that the enclosure be attached to the top of a pole in a neat parallel manner with the pole. And additionally, should a new support structure, a new pole be required, regulating where in relation to specific lots and existing structures those poles can be located, generally requiring them to be between structures or between adjacent businesses, not directly in front of a business or home or a door to either structure. It's recommended that the council adopt the standards contained in your packet from the work session as a stopgap measure and continue to evaluate whether more specific requirements should be established before the April 15th, 2019 deadline under the FCC order. The recommendation or the policy may be adopted by motion, and that is the recommendation. I'd be happy to answer any questions the council might have.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and second. Discussion. Any questions for Councilmember Plowman?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. To whomever got this ball rolling, kudos. I'd like to consider myself a young techie, but I'm not as young as I feel. But I have been watching the news regarding this rollout, and it is making national and worldwide news, actually, as the mobile carriers are all pushing to be the first to push their 5G services in and around the world. So the forethought by our city attorney's firm to address this, I think, is very prudent, because there have been communities and there are communities in Europe right now, and it is transitioning over into the United States that have not addressed these issues. Areas like Boston, New York City, whatnot, out on the East Coast, where they're rolling out these services and they're running into these problems where they did not have policies and ordinances in place, and now you have cities whose hands have been tied by these massive wireless providers. And so to get ahead of the ball and ahead of the curve on this one here in Midwest Minnesota, I think is a pretty cool thing. So again, kudos, I support it.
Councilmember Nelson.
I too would just like to say thank you. I will put a plug in for the Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities and also the League of Minnesota Cities, because this item was discussed last year multiple times. And so I thank you for your leadership in bringing that to us. It is one of the things I think that is good for us to be involved at the state level with our organizations, and they truly are looking out for the best for our communities. And so I too just want to say thank you for bringing this to us. So thank you.
Councilmember Fagerly.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So does this have to be sent back to the Planning Commission for future issues, or?
Councilmember Fagerly, it's not a requirement because this is a policy that's being enacted really to administratively enforce your existing right-of-way ordinance. It's not a zoning ordinance amendment or anything that requires it. Certainly, in advance of the April 15th deadline, there would be nothing to prevent the city from requesting the Planning Commission's input if it so chose, but it's not a requirement.
Okay, thank you.
Additional discussion. Roll call.
Councilmember Osmus,
Aye.
Maskey,
Aye.
Plowman,
Aye.
Fagerly,
Aye.
Nelson,
Aye.
Schwantes,
Aye.
Alvarado,
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
8 ayes, 0 nays.
That resolution passes. Next, city administrator comments. Mr. Holland.
First thing, I would just like to point out that I put in an email, and I wanted to make sure everyone is aware that we have a mobile app now that you can go on your cell phone, whether it's an Android or an Apple, and go under Willmar Connect, and you can download our mobile app. I've been using it as much as I can over the weekend, and so far, so good. So congratulations to our IT department for that development. Also, our work session will be on the 14th of this month, following on the 11th and 12th, which is this Thursday, or Friday and Saturday, a retreat with the council, the full council, and the department heads. And then also, just a note that we have a holiday this month, and so the council meeting will be on the 22nd, yes, following Martin Luther King Day. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. For the mayor's comments, I just want to thank the council. We have had a good run, if you will. We have a retreat coming up in front of us, and I respectfully request you to review the materials that were sent out by the administrator today in regards to those retreat sessions. We'll have sessions that will run Friday and Saturday. The goal is to be out early Saturday afternoon. And depending upon how the conversations go, I think it's listed to be done about 12:30. But if conversations go longer, that time could go longer as well. We've got a very exciting year ahead of us. Councilmember Osmus and Councilmember Nelson have been serving on the committee that you guys asked us to set, or that I asked for you to set up to talk about the local option sales tax. And that group is very well prepared. We've got on Friday some very good news from Representative Baker that we have the green light on our local option sales tax, and he feels very confident that we're in a very good position and we're very well prepared. So I want to publicly thank Representative Baker for his hard work in doing all the due diligence and getting us the correct information. And anytime that you work with the legislature, you know that it can be a very troublesome, burdensome process. And Representative Baker really helped us through that process, so I want to give him kudos. For the council members who have selected different boards and commissions to serve on, I thank you for those. Those positions are important. You're representing the citizens of Willmar and your constituents, but you're also representing this body, this board. And so please remember, if you're signed up to go to those meetings, make every attempt to be there because it's very good information. And then lastly, I want to congratulate again Mayor Pro Tem Fagerly. It'll be a pleasure working with you. I look forward to a very productive 2 years, and we'll get great work done. So again, congratulations. So with that, we'll start with Mayor Pro Tem Fagerly.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank the council for their support, and I look forward to 2019 also. Thank you.
Councilmember Nelson.
Thank you. I'd just like to say, take the opportunity to say thank you for my reelection. I am looking forward to the next 4 years. I think we have lots of challenges in front of us. I think we have great opportunities. But when I was elected, I used the term respect the future and respect the past and embrace the future. And I still believe strongly with that. And I am looking forward to working on our agenda this year. I am striving for open communication and for us to work and really look at our governance model to make it make it more productive. And so I thank you for that, and I thank the community of Willmar for their trust in re-electing me. Thank you.
Councilmember Schwantes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to congratulate our re-elected and welcome Councilmember Davis to the table. It's great to have you here. I think this is going to be an exciting year. We have a lot of work to do, a lot of projects that need to get done, and I'm looking forward to the retreat so we can set our course and make it happen.
Councilmember Alvarado.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Welcome. You did a great job tonight. Everybody did a great job tonight. I want to plant a seed, and the seed is to believe in positive intent. When somebody asks a question about something or takes an action to try to learn more about something from somebody, we have to believe that they're intending to make it better or to understand and to get through something so they can digest it. Just because we're questioning, we can't assume that they're trying to undermine us or to take something away from us or whatever. So I think it's important as we go forward, especially this weekend and forward, that we have to believe that when we ask a question or get questioned, it's for positive intent. We're trying to learn, and that's the way it should be taken. So it shouldn't be taken offensively. So I'm planting that seed. I'm excited about the new year. I'm excited about the possibilities and the people we get to work with. We've got a great community, great directors, and it should be a lot of fun. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Davis.
Well, I just want to say thank you, first of all, for the votes that put me here on this seat. And I feel really honored and humbled all at the same time to be able to serve this community that I love. And also to my constituents, if you need things, let me know.
Thank you. Councilmember Rasmus.
Thank you. This last weekend was the end of the lights out at Robbins Island. And again, just a huge thank you to the Kuzman family and everybody that helped put those up. I still am in awe every time I would drive by, and it was like a circus of lights. I mean, it was just amazing, and a lot of positive comments from the community. I mean, just always about how cool that was, and we were just lucky it happened, and just appreciate everybody who made it happen. I'd also like to plug an event coming up. There's going to be a sew-a-thon out at the community center on Saturday, January 19th. They're going to be sewing veterans, I call them backpacks, but walker bags for walkers and wheelchairs. And the country quilters were out there this morning, and they cut all the fabric for all of the bags that was bought by Homefront Connection. And got a plug in there. And,
I noticed that.
Yeah. But they're going to be sewing over 200 walker bags on January 19th. So if you have a sewing machine, or if you don't have a sewing machine, but you can help with ironing or counting and packing, come on out for just a great day. It's going to be fun. And then also I would just like to welcome Vicki Davis to the table, and I'm looking forward to the retreat and what we can accomplish there, and as we look forward to the new year. And I think it's going to be great. There's going to be exciting stuff happening.
Thank you, Councilmember Meske.
I'm losing my voice, but welcome, Councilmember Davis. We're looking forward to a new, great year, and all the returning council members. It's absolutely a pleasure to serve with you. Looking forward to a great 2019.
Councilmember Plowman.
I get to wrap it up, huh?
You do. Put a ribbon on it.
Oh, geez. I got to end with style. Doubling down on what Councilmember Alvarado said, the power of positivity. Just a chance to look back at the previous 4 years. What a great learning experience and a dynamically different shift in changes. And I feel like 2019's going to be a catalyst year. It's a new beginning. A new year's always a new beginning. I know everybody, it gets cliched, but for me personally, that rings true, and I think it can ring true for us Willmarites as a community. if we put our best traits forward and come to the table with the best of intentions, I think great things lie ahead for our city and our citizens, and I'm looking forward to it.
Excellent, thank you. Have a great evening. We are, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion been made and seconded. We are adjourned.